Close your eyes, sit up nice and tall, and turn your palms down on your thighs. Right away, take a long, deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth wide and exhale. And just take a few breaths here, noticing how you're doing. How's your physical yoga practice going? What parts of your body are feeling strong? What parts of your body are feeling weak? Do you feel balanced in your yoga practice? These monthly courses I teach intentionally integrate restorative yin, vinyasa, power, all the different things to give your body dynamic, diverse movement. Is there a certain type of practice that you've been craving or resisting? Notice that. And then I want you to think about what makes you feel the most strong. What makes you feel the most strong? Maybe it's a person, a food, an exercise. Maybe one of each. And then bring your hands together at heart center and set the intention as you move forward into the next week to bring those things into your life this coming week that make you feel strong. So if it's high intensity interval training, spinach, and an early bed time, then that's your intention to take with you through the week, is that you'll start to activate, bring those to life. Can you make that intention now? You have a moment. Now take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth wide, exhale out all your air. And we'll sing Om, the sound of Om, 3 times tonight. Inhale. Let that Om go. Lower your hands into your lap. Blink open your eyes. Take your right hand down onto the floor beside you. Inhale, lift your left arm up. And let's go right into a nice lateral bend. Push both sit bones into the floor. Stretch the side of your body and then drop a little closer to the earth. Inhale through your nose. Your breath makes it bigger. Exhale through your nose. Let everything sink. Inhale, come back up through center and take that onto the other side. So it's the opposite direction. And right away, you pin both sit bones into the floor. Groove through 3 deep breaths and notice if you can open and expand on the inhales and sink and soften on the exhales. Come back up through center. Take both hands up overhead. Good. Inhale, lift up, look up. Exhale, rotate your torso towards the right. Take your right hand back behind you, your left hand in front of you. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, look behind you. Inhale, nice and slow. Stretch both arms up overhead. And exhale, rotate to the other side. So we'll work towards some really strong, twisted, floating shapes. And keep moving through this little twist from seated just to notice how it's landing in your body. Right, so you're rotating from one side to the next, shifting right to left. Just meeting your body where it is. So don't push yourself too deep. Don't go so shallow that you feel nothing. And then come all the way back through center. Stretch both arms up overhead. And release your palms back through your heart. Interlace your hands, push your hands forward, Inhale, lift your arms up. Good. Turn your palms together, exhale your hands back down to your heart. Interlace your hands, push your palms forward, and really press your fingers against the fronts of your hands so you're stretching out through the hands here. Reach your arms up. Turn your palms together and lower back down. Now take your hands right onto your shoulders. So your hands grab your shoulders and just start to create great big rolls with your elbows and make them really, really slow. So you might start to feel a little snap, crackles, and pops through your shoulder joint here. Good. Turn your elbows in the opposite direction. Go even slower and even bigger. So when you come forward, try pinching your elbows together and then roll back. You're really spreading across your collarbones. This is like a nice little massage for your shoulders. Good. Come back through center. Take your hands and just start to flick your fingers. Flick your fingers. Flick, flick, flick. And then extend one hand out, catch that hand with the opposite hand, push your palm away. There'll be some wrist work tonight, so I want you to really get into this stretch. Take a breath in. As you exhale, drop your shoulder, pull your fingers back a little further. And shake that hand out. Go ahead to the opposite side. Push your palm forward, inhale. Exhale, drop that shoulder. And release, shake out your hands. Nice work. Crawl forward onto all fours. Come forward onto all fours. And we'll move through a few cat-cows. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your heart and your gaze. Exhale to round into your upper back. Notice already how your wrists are feeling. Inhale, pinch your shoulder blades together, lift your heart, lift your gaze. Exhale to round. One more time. Inhale, drop your belly, loop your shoulders back, lift your heart and your gaze. Exhale, round. Come back into a neutral spine. Spread your fingers really wide. Pull your belly button in so your tailbone sticks down. And then could you lift your knees just a few inches away from the floor? Lift your knees just a few inches away from the floor. Inhale, look forward, pop up between your shoulder blades. Breathing here, we start this process of long held shapes for 5. In and out through your nose. 4, keep gazing forward. 3, pin down through that L shape between your index fingers and your thumbs. 2, pull your belly button up, your tailbone loops down. And then on 1, stretch out your legs and float higher in downward facing dog. Imprint both feet into the floor so firmly that you feel your hamstrings stretching. You notice that sensation penetrating the entire back line of your body. Ground through your fingertips. Let your head hang really heavy. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out through your nose. Listen carefully. Can you inhale your weight forward into a high plank? Come right into a high plank from downward dog. Stay here on the exhale. Inhale, really slowly flow your body back up into your downward dog. Stay here to exhale. That's the dance. So inhale, cruise forward, reaching through the crown of your head and through the backs of your heels. Exhale. Inhale, pike your body right up into downward facing dog. Exhale all your air when you get there. One more time. Inhale, drive your weight forward. Good. And now exhale, lower all the way down to your stomach. All the way onto your stomach. Take your palms, place your palms down onto the floor. Pin your shoulder blades back towards one another. Loop your shoulders back. Lift up, baby cobra. Exhale, lower. Take your fingers outside of your yoga mat. Your elbows shift upwards. Inhale a little bit bigger in your baby cobra. Exhale, lower. And because it feels so delicious in the shoulders, inhale, lift up, look over your right shoulder. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up, look over your left shoulder. Exhale, lower. Plant your palms, push through your hands and your knees, and float high into your downward facing dog. Inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale back out through your nostrils. 3 more breaths here, and your downward dog is your resting pose in a power class, so this can always look more like child's pose. Listen to your body. Now gently drift your gaze forward and step both feet towards the top of your yoga mat. When they get there, push your hands into your shins, lift your heart halfway, and now exhale, fold. Press into your feet, inhale, lift all the way up, stretch your arms up. Exhale, fold right back down to the floor. Inhale, lift your heart halfway. Exhale, plant your palms, step into high plank, hold here. Some really delicious core work coming at you. Can you bend your elbows just halfway and then pump right back up? Downward facing dog. So just like before, we're simply adding on. You can always do this from your knees. Try inhaling forward to high plank. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, push all the way up through high plank into downward dog. Again, inhale forward to high plank. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. This time, inhale forward to high plank. Lower halfway, pause. Turn onto the tops of your feet. Drag the heels of your hands towards your feet. Lift your heart and your chest. That's F4 dog. And now stitch through your core, push back over your toes into downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale out all your air without even thinking about it. Bend your knees, hop or step forward, lengthen your spine halfway. Exhale, fold. Press into the 4 corners of your feet, root down to rise up. Your arms can stretch up overhead. And now exhale your hands back through heart center. This time take your feet wide apart, hip distance apart, and sink down into an imaginary chair. Sink down into an imaginary chair. Take your hands forward like you're holding onto a beach ball. Your legs are so strong. Now bend at your elbows and open them out to the side like goalposts. Keep sinking in your chair. Inhale. Bring your hands together so the pinky edge sides of your hands touch. Exhale to expand and open your goalpost arms. Inhale, pull it in, drop your hips 2 inches lower. Exhale, open wide. Inhale to close. Exhale to open. 5 more. Inhale. Exhale, drop your hips a little lower. Inhale. Exhale. You've still got 3 more to go. Can you squeeze your glutes together? Engage the muscles of your legs. Feel your quads and your hips burning here. And the next time your pinky fingers come towards one another, waterfall your weight down towards the mat. Inhale, pick it up halfway. Listen carefully. Step your palms onto the floor. Reach your feet back. You're in high plank again, a familiar place now. You can stay here in high plank. If your wrists are hurting, it's okay to take this next movement from low plank, from your elbows. I'd like you to lift up your right leg and just open your right leg to the right and then tuck it back in. So your right leg's opening just a few inches, pulsing back and forth. Your foot is flexed. 2 more. 1 more time. Feel the core working here. You might choose to pike up your hips for a moment and then drip your weight back down through your high plank or your low plank, you choose. Stabilize, open your left leg out to the side. So lots of core work happening, lots of work through the leg muscles, and just 5 little pulses. Open and shut, open and shut. 1 more time, open, and when you shut, bend your elbows really slow, but only go halfway. Loop your shoulders back, you're in upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in through your nose. Push that breath out through your mouth. You might flutter your lips here. And now take your right leg really slowly. Step your right foot towards your right hand. Stay here on the ball of your left foot. Scissor your right hip back and bring your hands towards your right knee. Take your hands right away, interlace them behind your back. And if you can't quite catch your hands, just make believe that you can so they're close enough to each other. Push your palms down. This stretches across your chest. Lift your heart, look up. With so much stability, could you start to fold forward with your hands bound, or you can take them to the floor if you're off balance. Start to fold in. And now release your hands alongside your body. Come back upright and stretch your arms up overhead. Really good. Lower your hands down to the floor. Push back, plank pose. Take a breath in. Exhale here. Inhale, float your hips high, back to downward dog. Step your left foot forward, stay on the ball of your right foot, and gently reach yourself upright. Interlace your hands behind your back. Pierce your fingers down towards your bum, towards the floor to stretch across your chest, and then with so much focus and concentration, hinge forward. Your arms might reach up overhead. And now lower your hands back down alongside your body. Lift up, lift up, lift up. And release back down. Take your hands to the floor. Push back, plank pose. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in. And out. Step your feet forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. And exhale, fold. Bend deep into your knees. Take your hands to your heart. Come back to chair pose. Push your palm into your palm. And then straighten out your legs. Turn your palms alongside your body. Close your eyes. Breathe here. 5 breaths in mountain pose. Bring your big toes together. Spread the rest of your toes really wide. Drop your hips down. Squish your knees together and take your hands to your heart. You're in chair pose with your hands at your heart. Inhale to lengthen through the crown of your head. Exhale, rotate towards the right and take your left elbow onto your right thigh. Drag your left hip back so your knees are level. Push your right hand into your left hand and look up. Maybe open your arms wide. Breathing here for 5. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Could you keep your hips low? Return to center. Stay with it. It's just 5 breaths on the other side. Now your right elbow cuts across your left thigh. Push your left hand into your right hand. Rotate your left ribs up and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, stay with it. Find the strength. Stretch your arms all the way up. Then lower your torso, your hands, and your heart down. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, plant your palms. Find plank pose. Hold here. Take a breath in. As you exhale, take your left hand beneath your face and roll onto the outside edge of your left foot. Roll onto the outside edge of your left foot. Stack your feet or plant your right foot on the floor with the knee bent. It serves as your kickstand. Take your right arm up to the sky, maybe alongside your right ear. Perhaps behind your head, you can push your head into your hand. And as you find a few more breaths here, play with stability. Maybe lift your right leg. Maybe take your right leg into that tree pose variation by stamping your foot onto your shin. Slowly return your body back through neutral and shift your hips high, downward dog. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Inhale, ripple forward. Take your right hand beneath your face. Roll onto the outside edge of your right foot. Find your version of Vashisthasana. So your left foot can be on the floor in front of you. It could be stacked. Maybe it's lifted up or trained to come into tree pose. Your left arm can be stretched overhead, perhaps on the back of your head, you choose. Shift your hips a little higher, take 2 more breaths wherever you've decided to go. And gracefully put your left hand back down onto the floor, send your hips high. Take a breath in here in downward dog. Exhale out all your air. Flush that out with a vinyasa. Inhale forward to high plank. Exhale, lower just halfway. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Keep your left foot steady as you step your right foot between your hands, just like you did before. Lift your torso up. This time, simply push your hands together at heart center. Drag your right hip back as your left hip comes forward, bend deep into that front knee, and now really fire up your back leg so you can feel that left quad waking up. Turn your palms towards the right. Take your left elbow onto your right thigh, just like you did from chair pose. Push your right hand into your left hand. Could you gaze up? Breathing here for 5. Maybe open your arms wide, but whatever you do, your gaze is locked on something still. You're squeezing the muscles towards your bones. Find stability with breath. Listen carefully. Inhale back through center. Take your arms right up towards the sky. And then exhale, plant your palms. Push back, plank pose. Lower just halfway. Push back up, downward facing dog. Step your left foot between your hands. Stay on the ball of your right foot. Inhale, lift your heart, your chest, your gaze up. Exhale, tack your hands together at heart center. Push palm into palm. Find stability and then rotation. Begin to take your right elbow onto your left thigh. Push your left hand into your right hand. The crown of your head extends forward, and the more you press through that left hand, the deeper of a stretch or rotation you can find in your spine. What happens if you tack your left hip back and start to draw your right hip forward, firing up your right quad? Could you come back through center in a way that's so slow, you can hardly tell this is such hard work on your legs? And then place your hands on the floor, lower halfway, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Please walk your hands back towards your feet. Take your peace and love fingers, wrap them around your big toes. Inhale, spring forward through the crown of your head. Exhale, bend at your elbows to pull the crown of your head down. Take as much of a bend in your knees as you need to so your hamstrings don't feel compromised here. And just float upside down for a few big breaths. Start to bend into your knees. You can walk your hands forward for stability. Bend into your knees. And just come down into this little modified squat pose. So your feet are quite close here. To sit down in a squat. And if your heels can't reach the floor, you can fold up your yoga mat or take a little blanket underneath of them so that they have a little extra padding. Good. And now take your fingers forward, plant your palms really firm on the floor, and puff up between your shoulder blades. Look forward. Start to lift your bum up. Walk your hands back in towards your body. Bend into your knees so your knees are tucked towards your upper arms or your armpits. We're just going to play here for a minute. We will go to Bakasana, not yet. While you're here in this prep pose for Bakasana, can you look forward, puff between your shoulder blades, draw your tailbone down, and squeeze into your core. Take a breath in, and a breath out. Good. Drop your bum back down towards the earth. Your heels settle back onto the floor, and you can come into a cozy, crunchy little Malasana squat pose. Might feel nice to let your head hang heavy or to stretch out your wrists. So you can stay here, or we'll try that again and take flight. Plant your palms on the floor. Palms are about hip distance apart, and then lift your bum high and walk your hands closer to your body. Now your knees
are driving into your armpits. Most of the time they arrive on our upper arms instead. That's okay. Start to lean your weight forward so you feel the pressure of your knees against your upper arms. Look forward, puff between your shoulder blades. Puff between your shoulder blades, look forward, breathe, start to lift your right toes and then maybe your left toes. And if you can bring your toes together and start to lift your heels towards your bottom. Puff between your shoulder blades, look forward, breathe here for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, return back into your squat pose. Take a few breaths here. Shift around your wrists. Place your hands on the floor just to support you as you bring your hips back up. Laterally shift your hips from left to right. Your palms are on the floor. Your legs are straight. And take your hands, walk your hands all the way under your feet. So all that wrist work becomes undone with a little massage from our toes on our wrists. Your knees can be bent here. And just dig your toes into your wrists, into your palms, and relieve some of that tension. And take your hands out from underneath your feet. Tuck your chin into your chest. Slowly, slowly roll all the way back up to stand. And when you get there, just give your whole body a little shake around. Can you turn your right toes to face the long right edge of your mat and take a giant step forward with your left foot? Your right toes are facing the long right edge of your mat. The back of your foot is parallel with the back of your mat, and your left knee is bent. Open your arms wide. Look over your left middle finger, or close your eyes. Breathe here. 5 breaths on your own. Take your left elbow onto your left thigh and extend your right arm up alongside your right ear. Draw your tailbone down, squeeze your core in, take your left arm alongside your left ear. Look up or down, 5 breaths. Press into both feet. Inhale, lift up, straighten out your front leg and open your arms wide. Reach your left fingertips forward. Surrender them down to your left shin as your right arm stretches up. 5 breaths on your own. It's just you and your breath. Bend into your left knee. Take both hands to frame your front foot and start to lift up your right leg. Lift up your right leg. Your right toes are facing down. Place your right hand up towards the upper right corner of your yoga mat and take your left arm up to the sky. If it's available to you, you might bend your right knee, reach back with your left hand and grab your right foot. Push your foot into your hand and keep stretching your chest open. So you're in a twisted half moon pose. If you're really steady, you could lift your right fingers off the floor. Breathing here, 5 breaths. Take your right foot really slow all the way towards the back of your mat. Plant your palms and find plank pose. Take a breath in right here in plank. Exhale, lower just halfway. Inhale into your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Turn your left toes to face the long left edge of your mat as you walk your right foot forward. Lift your heart up away from the floor and find warrior 2. So the exact same sequence on the other side. Quiet and still, 5 breaths. Bend into your right elbow, place it onto your right thigh. Now your left arm extends alongside your left ear. Pick up your right arm, stretch it alongside your right ear. Press into your feet, dive deep through that front knee, and breathe. Push into your feet, straighten both arms and legs. Reach your right fingers forward, let them release down towards your right shin. Meanwhile, your left arm stretches high. Trikonasana, triangle pose, 5 breaths. Carefully bend into your right knee. Take both hands onto the floor. Restabilize your body. Now you know where you're going. Lift up your left leg. Take your left hand to the upper left corner of your mat. Level out those hips. Really ground through the 4 corners of your right foot. You can stay here, or maybe you bend into your right knee. Reach back bend into your left knee. Reach back with your right hand and catch that foot. If you feel awfully steady, maybe your left hand comes to your heart. Play with balance, play with stability, 5 breaths. Lower your hands gracefully to the floor. Step back into your high plank pose. And gradually release all the way down to your tummy. Take your hands, interlace your hands behind your back. Bring your big toes together. Inhale, lift everything up. By any amount, feel free to hold here. This is Shalambhasana. If there's space to bind, you'll simply bend into your knees, catch your ankles or your feet. Kick your feet away as you lift your heart and chest up. 5 breaths. Everybody find your way down onto your tummy, rest either cheek on the floor, be still or mobile. Take a little rest here. Press your hands into the earth. Could you find your way back into a wide-legged child's pose? Stretch your arms out overhead and take a few moments here to twirl around your wrists. Check in with your body. Notice how it's feeling. And now begin to walk both hands far over towards the right, really pushing the earth away with your palms to get that lateral side body stretch. Now bring your hands back through center and take them over to the opposite side. Find that big full stretch. Walk your hands back through center and then walk your hands in towards your body. You're still in this child pose variation with your legs. Knees are wide and your bum rests on your heels. You could stay here, or you might begin to walk your hands back behind you, fingertips facing your body. Either stay there or draw your tailbone down, pull your pubic bone up, and start to work your elbows to the floor. Hero pose or saddle pose. Takes your quads on quite a wild ride. You might decide to drop the top of your head to the floor, or maybe your whole spine flattens onto the earth. Don't push your body here. If there's straining your knees, please stay up in the first variation of this shape. You're just sitting back in your heels. Otherwise, take a few moments here to feel the deep front line of your body opening up. Notice the roller coaster ride of the practice. And before we climb another mountain, can you just take a minute to savor the quietness here? Undo that shape by coming back up the exact same way you got down. It's really, really slow. Walk your hands out in front of you. And to counter that big quad stretch, we'll take a nice hamstring stretch in downward facing dog. Take your right leg, stretch your right leg high into the sky. And then inhale, come forward to high plank. Tap your right elbow with your right knee. So your upper body's in plank, your right knee is at your right elbow, and then press your right leg back up to the sky. Come forward to high plank, cut under your body with your right knee, tap your left elbow, and then pull that knee up a little higher. Push your right leg high through downward dog again. And finally, bring your right knee towards your face. See if you could kiss your knee before you release your right knee down into pigeon pose. Stretch your left leg back. Pierce your fingers into the floor. Inhale, lift your heart in your chest. Exhale, fold right down to the earth. Come into a nice, sweet sleeping pigeon pose. Listen carefully. Keep your right knee as it is. Just walk your hands back up towards your body. Lean over onto your right hip. Take your left leg all the way around and place your left foot to the outside of your right thigh. Take your left hand behind you. Inhale, reach your right arm up. Exhale, rotate towards the left. Crush your right elbow into your left thigh. Let that dig you into a bit of a deeper twist and perhaps take your gaze behind you. Inhale here. Exhale, come back through center all the way over to the other side. So now your palms are on the right side of your body. Sink down towards the floor before you pull up to neutral. Option 1, stay here. Option 2, walk your left foot by any amount away from your right leg. So maybe you're in shoelace pose with your knees stacked. Maybe your left ankle is right on your right thigh. That's called square pose. And now take your arms into a wide open shape. With your right leg on top, can you bring your right arm underneath your left arm? Give yourself a hug. Or place the backs of your hands together. Or place the palms together, cow face pose. If you get here, reach your fingers high, tuck your chin low, take a breath in, and then maybe fold forward. Cow face pose. 5 breaths. Inhale, lift your arms back up. Unbind your arms first, and when you do that, take them right up towards the sky again. Lower your hands to the floor. Lean your weight all the way over to the right. Take your left leg back behind you. Plant your palms on the floor. Push back, downward facing dog. You could flow through a vinyasa here or just sink into your downward dog, 2 breaths. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, bend into your left knee as you pike forward into plank. Tap your left elbow with your left knee. And now press your left leg back up. Don't use momentum. The slower you go, the more muscular the work. Bend into your left knee, cut it across your body. Tap your right elbow, lift it up a little higher. Push your left leg back. And now finally bring that left knee forward. See if you can give it a kiss before you sink it down into pigeon pose. You might stay upright. You might settle all the way to the floor. Wherever you go, you're starting to work through your psoas, through your IT band. Get right into it. A few breaths here. Your torso will start to rise up. Walk your hands into your body, drip your weight over to that left hip. Take your right leg all the way around and place your right foot to the outside of your left thigh. Drive your right hand behind you. Inhale your left arm up. And as you exhale, bend into that left elbow. Squish your elbow to your thigh to drive the rotation through your torso. You could gaze behind you, maybe down to the floor. Breathe in here and breathe out. Inhale, cruise back through center. Your fingers will touch the earth on the opposite side of your body. And now as you pull back through neutral again, you could stay here or maybe start to heel toe your right foot further away, tracking your knees on top of one another, or maybe that right ankle on top of your left thigh. The right leg is over. Take your arms wide, and this time take your left arm under. Give yourself a great big hug. Or find Garudasana, eagle arms. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, hollow through your belly, pull your elbows in. 5 breaths here. Good. Lift your torso back up. Unwrap your arms. You can shake them or stretch them upright. Lean over onto your left hip. Take that right leg back behind you. Plant your palms. Find downward facing dog. From downward dog, take a giant step forward with your left foot and rotate both toes to face the long edge of your mat. Walk your hands beneath your shoulders. Inhale, lift up. You're in a wide-legged forward fold. Exhale, fold forward. Start to walk your hands back behind you by any amount. Your knees can bend if they need to. You might choose to stay right here for 5 breaths. Those of you practicing headstand can drop the crown of your head onto the floor and start to lift your legs up. 5 breaths. If you're upright, gently come down, catch yourself, walk your hands under your shoulders, lengthen through your spine. Everybody exhale as you fold. Bend into your knees, take your hands onto your thighs, starting to lift up, but get really low into a good deep sumo squat, and then just shift your weight from side to side. Slowly draw your tailbone down, dig your heels into the floor, come up to stand, and step your feet together. Shake everything out. Take water here if you'd like, and really shake out through your wrist. Shake out through your wrists. And while you're shaking out through your wrists, you might also start to shake out through your arms. So just wrapping your arms around your body, shaking and shifting. Okay, we're ready for our final peak pose. I will demonstrate first, in case you've never done this before, side crow. So the big toes are coming together, and you'll sink down into a little micro squat. My bum is lifted up off the floor, my knees are together, my big toes are touching. The first phase of this pose is to simply walk both hands over towards the right. We're working towards getting our armpit stacked above our right hip, our right armpit above our right hip, our left armpit just in front of our left knee. Chaturanga arms, those full 90-degree arms, are essential here. From there, you can press your palms onto the floor. And this is phase 1. I'll walk you through this again, don't worry. Phase 2 is to lift your bum, bend into those 90-degree chaturanga arms, start to look forward, and lift your heels up off the floor. Phase 3 would be to extend that top leg, and phase 4 is to extend the bottom leg. This is side crow. Lots of work on the hands. So come into your little micro squat. If you're not here already, we have some time to play. And just shake out your wrists. Then place your hands to the right side of your body. So your right hand and your right elbow are aligned with your right hip. Your left hand and your left elbow are aligned with your left knee. Option A, stay here. Option B, lift your bum high as you start to bend into your knees. You're creating a little shelf for your hip and your knee to land on. And then you're tilting forward, tilting forward, tilting forward, looking forward, puff between your shoulder blades, start to lift your feet. Maybe stretch that left leg out, maybe stretch your right leg out, you choose. Breathe wherever you are for a few breaths. Really good. And slowly come back through center. You might stay in the squat, you might come right down onto the tops of your ankles, and just take a few breaths here, shaking out your wrists. Other side. So it's the exact same work, obviously, but depending on how your body's twisting, how your spine is feeling, it might be more challenging on the opposite side. Maybe your wrists are not happy with this pose and you need to opt out. That's okay. You can just come into the twist and hold here. Otherwise, plant your palms onto the floor. Lift your bum. Start to bend into your elbows. Tack your left hip into your left elbow, your left arm. Your left knee drives in towards your right arm. And then lean your way forward. You have to trust yourself and start to float. Maybe that right leg comes to fly. Maybe your left leg follows. Play with the shape. It's okay if you fall out. If you can't do any of this, it doesn't matter. We're just exploring. And when you've had enough of all of that, could you find your way down into child's pose? Press your hands into the floor, lift yourself up, and take your legs directly out in front. Straighten out through your legs, drive your toes towards your face. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Could you catch the opposite edges of your feet, or maybe place your hands on the floor in front of you and then dig your tailbone down, your sit bones down into the floor, lengthen through your spine. Look right towards your big toes and fold forward. Breathing here. 1 full minute. So get into a version of Dandasana that really serves you. Spine round or extended. You might move. What feels good here? Go for it. Inhale, straighten through your spine. Lift up nice and slow. Only for a minute though, because now I'll ask you to put the soles of your feet together. Inhale through your chest. Exhale, press your feet together and fold forward. Your hands can go anywhere. Inhale, rise back up. Drive your knees together. Lean back and lift your legs up to a 90-degree angle with your arms either alongside your body or underneath your thighs. Now, if your legs are willing to go straight, you can straighten your legs out. Otherwise, the work here is to really draw your shoulder blades down your back, lift your chest so your spine is long, not rounded. And then gradually get to the place where your hands are alongside your body and you can start to zip your knees towards one another, lift your heart even more, and feel the core working in unison with your entire body. 5 breaths, Navasana, boat pose. Lower your feet onto the floor. Go ahead and lower your whole body onto the floor. And when it gets there, hug your knees into your chest and just rock from side to side. Eventually, rock your knees all the way over to the right. Open your arms wide. Find a spinal twist that suits you, either stacking your knees or maybe extending through your top leg. Pick those knees back up through center and drift them all the way down to the opposite side. Your arms still opening wide, your gaze somewhere that feels nice. Pick up your knees, squeeze them back through center. If there are any shapes or movements we didn't get to that you're aching for, take them now. Otherwise, you can let your whole body melt down into final Shavasana. And I'll hold space here for you for the next few minutes. A really quiet Shavasana tonight. So come on in, close your eyes, and just let go. I'll let you know when your time here is up. Without moving anything, can you take a moment to reconnect with our intention of strength? What makes you strong? What foods, what drinks, what movement practices, what kind of work, what kind of people?
And choose one or two or three things from this list of stuff that makes you strong to cast into your life this upcoming week. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth wide to exhale. And then wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, open and close your mouth. Inhale, stretch both arms high overhead as you stretch your toes far away. And exhale, bend into your knees, roll over onto the right side of your body. Press yourself all the way up into a comfortable seat. When you get there, you can make any little movements that feel nice, or maybe you come straight into stillness. And bring your hands together at your heart center. You've done incredible work. Keep doing the incredible work to stay strong in your body, your mind, and your spirit. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.